Alright everyone, for the first time, 2 months in a row, we are getting a new The Spoke Kishibe Rohan chapter. And remember that we're also gonna get one next month as well. This is the first ever Rohan chapter that we'll be getting a part 2. So there's gonna be more coming for chapter 11 in chapter 12. And chapter 11 is titled Drip Painting Style. And speaking of drip painting, Rohan sure does look nice in that cover. The chapter is about Rohan telling this story about episode 11, as he calls it, and we cut to this girl doing a bad thing, and while trying to pick up her daughter from kindergarten, she experiences a lot of wacky stuff. There's this random shadowy thing in an SUV previously shown to get scratched, but it's potentially not the same SUV, but yeah, there's shenanigans happening. So it's really hard to say much about the chapter because it is just the first part, but think about this. What if the shadowy thingy is actually a rock animal? Because look at the main body part thing. It sure does resemble a rock in a way, with just a bunch of stuff pointing out and like sticking out and all that. So clearly he must be a rock animal. And notice how Mitsuki, the girl in question, thinks that it was probably some type of boar. And maybe she's right, but it's actually a rock boar. But seriously, it's most likely just some type of evil spirit or incarnation or something like that, like most other The Spoke Kishibe Rohan stories are. That's basically just like ruining this person's life because they do kind of deserve it, to be honest. But I'm not really sure what the SUV is supposed to be. Maybe it's just like the guy controlling the figure, or maybe the shadowy figure is in like 2 places at once and it's like teleporting. But I don't really know for certain, obviously. That's just my theory. But something else that should be noted with this chapter is its beginning, since Rohan literally calls this story episode 11, and this is the 11th chapter of tskr, which is pretty funny. And the way Rohan talked, especially in the last few panels before it cut to the main story, literally just felt like Araki talking to us and giving us context towards the story. Since, Rohan literally says, "I thought I'd let you know before reading on." In story, Rohan is talking to Izumi, probably about the ending to something he's writing about. But it's pretty obvious to the 13.5% of my audience subscribed to my channel that he's really talking to us. And speaking of Izumi, I am glad to see her and Bōken, the dog from last chapter, returning, because it's not something you really see in the Spoke Kishibe Rohan. So I'm glad that Araki has decided to add a few reoccurring characters that isn't just Rohan, since it does liven up the series more and it does like give it more life and all that, to just see people that Rohan interacts with on a semi-daily basis. And it does add to Rohan's character as well. So personally, I'd really hit the like button for that aspect, just like how you'd wonder what is exactly inside Jotaro's hat in Stone Ocean, because it's pretty big.